After launching a lightning raid on Venezuela, capturing President Maduro and his wife without a single casualty, the whole world has been watching to see who the United States will target next. The answer given by Trump has left a host of U.S. allies feeling like the sky is falling. In an interview with reporters, Trump first indulged in a bout of self-glorification, boasting about his great achievement of capturing the Maduros alive. Then he suddenly changed the subject, claiming that the United States absolutely needs to acquire Greenland, citing the presence of Chinese and Russian ships seemingly operating around the island. According to Trump's logic, although Greenland is currently a territory of Denmark, it is vital to U.S. national security and holds significant strategic importance for protecting the free world from China and Russia. Therefore, Trump believes that the United States should annex Greenland as part of its territory. Of course, since Greenland belongs to Denmark, a U.S. ally, even as Trump declared that the U.S. absolutely needs Greenland, he had to make a special exception for his ally. Thus, Trump assured Denmark that it need not fear becoming the next Venezuela, stating that the U.S. would not use military force to seize Greenland, but instead hopes to achieve the annexation through diplomatic and economic means. Trump's remarks have undoubtedly dropped another bombshell on the international community. It was widely speculated that after Maduro's arrest, the White House's next target would be its old foe on its Hey Cuba. Yet Trump made an extremely unexpected move by turning his sights on an NATO ally. This rogue act of hegemony, completely outside the usual playbook, has not only caught Denmark off guard, but also sent jitters through the entire Western Bloc. In fact, following the USS Lightning-Minus fast operation against Venezuela, hawkish politicians in Washington have been unusually elated. Marco Rubio, the U.S. Secretary of State known as a stalwart advocate of defiance, publicly threatened that now that the Maduro regime has been brought to justice, Cuba is the last anti-minus U.S. stronghold in the Western Hemisphere, should also be looking over its shoulder. At the same time, Trump himself has repeatedly issued tough warnings against Iran on social media, claiming that the U.S. will fully support the unrest on the streets of Tehran, even leave the door open to taking drastic measures. This smoke and mirrors public opinion campaign convinced almost the entire world that the U.S. military's next battlefield would inevitably be in the Caribbean or the Persian Gulf. Yet no one could have anticipated that Trump's true strategic ambition was directed at Greenland, a seemingly harmless territory of Denmark, one of America's staunchest allies. From a geopolitical perspective, Greenland is a strategic hub that commands the Arctic shipping routes and links North America with Europe. As global warming accelerates the melting of Arctic ice, the golden waterway running from East Asia through the Arctic to Europe is gaining ever greater commercial value. On the Pentagon's strategic chessboard, Greenland is also a critical choke point for containing China and Russia. The U.S. side argues that Russia is continuously strengthening its military presence in the Arctic, while China is actively participating in Arctic affairs through the Polar Silk Road. Trump's deliberate mention of Chinese and Russian ships operating around the island was precisely to find a national security pretext for his annexation IST ambitions. Controlling Greenland would not only allow the U.S. to enhance the missile early warning and space surveillance capabilities of its Thule air base on the island, but also directly monopolize the region's abundant rare earth and oil resources, thus striking a blow against competitors in the high-tech supply chain. However, this law-of-minus jungle act has dealt a devastating psychological blow to the U.S. alliance system. For European allies, the lightning raid on Venezuela could still be rationalized as the resurrection of the Monroe Doctrine, a move to eliminate an anti-minus U.S. regime. But targeting Denmark, a core EU member state, is an entirely different matter. It sends an extremely dangerous signal under Trump's America First logic. Allies are not inviolable partners, but even prey that can be annexed at any time. This act of preying on one's own allies will undoubtedly generate immense centrifugal force within the alliance system built by the United States. If even the sovereign territory of Denmark can be openly schemed against by the U.S. president, how should countries like Japan, South Korea, and Germany host to large numbers of U.S. troops position themselves? Although Trump has pledged not to use military force, the so-called voluntary deal, backed by the stick of diplomatic pressure and the carrot of economic inducements, is nothing but a fig leaf for power politics and bullying. It can be said that while Trump has tactically demonstrated the U.S. military's hard power by capturing Maduro, his strategic move to openly go into an allies' territory is squandering what little remains of America's international credibility. This sense of dread, one that has left allies living in fear and even feeling like the sky is falling, will ultimately boomerang on America's global hegemonic system.